All right, what's going on, everybody? Yo, I just recorded a whole video and the mic wasn't on. Yo, that is the worst. Like, if you have a channel, if you're a content creator, that's had to happen to you at some point. It's crazy. It hasn't happened. It hasn't happened to me in a long time, but it just happened to me just now. All right, what's up, everybody, man? I'm just here to recap this fight with Jared Anderson from the other night. He stops Jerry Forrest in 2 rounds. I was there. I was in Madison Square Garden. This was on the other card of Teofimo Lopez and Sandor Martin. And it gave, to be honest, the whole card was cool. I didn't watch the earlier fights, but I got there right before the main card began. So I was able to see Keyshawn Davis. I was able to see Xander Sayas. But this fight here, we actually got a knockout in. And it definitely just made everybody in the crowd like hyped, for real. Jared Anderson, man, I really like this kid. He's my favorite out of all of the prospects right now. And I think that he definitely has the ingredients and the potential to become a superstar if he remains, he stays on the right path and keeps winning. And, he has the look. He's flashy, he's flamboyant. He likes to come to the ring and put on a show. He's getting on the knockdown. This is his 13th fight, 13 KOs, all early KOs. And I think he's just creating a buzz for himself. And I think this was what many of us believe to be his step up fight. Jerry Forrest ain't no slouch. He's been in there with a lot of good fighters. He's been in there with Jared Washington. He's been in there with Michael Hunter twice, Zile Zhang, Kubrat Pulev. He's been in there with a lot of good fighters. Carlos Takam. And even though he didn't win all of those fights, there's a lot of those fights that most of us believe that he won. He has split decision losses to guys like Jermaine Franklin, which I thought was a close fight between Forrest and Franklin. Franklin had just had that very controversial loss to Dillian White, right? And then he had to draw with Michael Hunter and Zile Zhang, which, very debatable, very disputable. You know what I'm saying? So this was a good test for Jared Anderson, because not saying that the opponents he faced were bad. It's just that nobody was really familiar with any of those guys. So this was a step up. Many of us believe that this was a step up for him. And he shined and he passed the test by scoring a second round knockout against a fighter that hasn't been, he's been stopped before, but he hasn't been stopped since early in his career, which was back in 2013, like almost 10 years ago against Gerald Washington. He's had other losses. He did lose to Michael Hunter the first time. He lost to Jermaine Franklin. Very disputed fight. Like I said, lost to Carlos Takam. He's lost some fights. But again, no one's ever just stopped him like this, or he hasn't been stopped like this in a very, very long time. He's been doing his thing, and he's been looking sharp in recent fights. And Jared Anderson stopped him in the second round. And to be honest, when I watched the fight, this fight could have been stopped in the first round. Now, it's kind of crazy how this fight starts, because Jerry Forrest comes out fast. If you look at the first 30 seconds of this fight, Jerry Forrest landed the better punches. He starts out fast, lands some heavy, cleaned punches on Jared Anderson, right on the chin, right? And that just woke up the beast, man. I don't really believe, based on body language, I don't think Jared Anderson was looking to start out that fast. I think he was going to box a little bit, just work with the pace and just, eventually go for the KO. Eventually he was going to open up a little bit more, but I figured, he was going to start out, maybe a round or two just to see what Jerry Forrest has, since he hasn't been in a ring with that level or caliber of a fighter yet professionally. and Jerry came out fast, and then Jared Anderson just went right after him. And Jerry Forrest was in trouble in the first round, and he took a beating for at least half of this round, a bad beating. Most of the people in the arena was screaming for the ref to jump in and stop it. I was there, so I don't know what people were saying at home, but as we were watching it in the garden, a lot of people were like, "Yo, stop the fight! Jump in, stop the fight!" Because Jerry was trapped in the corner and he was taking a lot of punishment. Not a lot of punches was landing clean, and yes, he was throwing punches back and he was landing some counters in between Anderson's flurries, but at the end of the day, he was taking a lot of punches, man. And then go into the second round, and Anderson just finished where he left off in the first round, and he connected with a big punch, and it hurt Jerry Forrest. Jerry Forrest leaned over, and that's when the ref stepped in and just waved it off. All right, so it was a very, very good performance from Jerry Anderson. And I'm gonna have my criticisms, and this is gonna be the same criticisms that I've given before with him. The defense, offensively he can do it all. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he can do it all. He can counter, he can switch. You know what I'm saying? He put the punches together really well. He goes to the body. You know what I'm saying? We see the pull counters. We see him, controlling distance. I mean, he can do everything offensively, but defensively, he takes a lot of unnecessary punches. At this point in his career, he hasn't really cared about anything that's been thrown back at him. And I think for now, it's gonna be all right, because even Jerry Forrest, even though he was a level up, and I think any heavyweight is capable of knocking out anybody, but Jerry Forrest is just not a KO artist. And I think at some point, Jared Anderson is gonna have to be a little bit more mindful of how he chooses to take these fights, and be more aware of defense. Because he can't just take those punches from everybody. Jerry Forrest is good, but there's levels above him. As he keeps climbing up the ladder here, there's a lot of the fighters that you just can't walk through like that. You gotta be careful. These guys will put you on your ass. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the main thing, really. There's something else I wanted to say. I'm trying to think. But I mean, yeah, I think that's really just the main criticism there. I want to see him go more rounds, but I'm not gonna complain about that, because if you're fighting fighters now like a Jerry Forrest, who's been in there with a lot of fighters, like top tier guys, what you want to do is you want to beat him better than everybody else, and he did just that. He passed that test. So on this level, as you're stepping up at this point. You step up, and you still gave us the same result. I think the last 5 opponents he's faced, he knocked them out in 2 rounds. Last 5 guys. So with that being said, he passed this test. But as he continues to rise, the fights are gonna go longer, and you're gonna have to. I would like to see someone push him. I would like to see how Jared Anderson adjusts. I would like to see him fight on the back foot. I would like to see him where he's a little bit concerned about the power of his opponent. And I want to see how he reacts to that. All in due time. I'm sure we'll get that soon as he continues to rise. But for right now, I'm loving what I'm seeing, and I'm really excited about the kid, man. To be honest, as long as he just stays disciplined, he's only 23 years old. Dude, boxing is your full-time job. It's not like you having a full-time job and then you come to the box. All of these guys, we see so many guys fall off over the years. We just now look at Teofimo Lopez, and he's like barely older, but look at all the struggles he's been dealing with on the mental aspect. You have Ryan Garcia that took a year off mentally. Just stay focused. I know he seems to kind of welcome the trash talk and the attention. I think he wants that, even if people is gonna begin to dislike him because of the people he called out. He recently called out Dillian White, but Dillian White had a struggle. He struggled against Jermaine Franklin, And I understand that. I get that. But he called out a guy that's fought nothing but top tier fighters when he haven't fought anyone near on the level of the guys that Dillian White has faced. But with that being said, you just fought Jerry Forrest, who went the distance with Jermaine Franklin and had a split decision, lost him. You know? So, and Jermaine Franklin is actually one of the better up-and-coming American fighters. So if you can do this to Forrest, if you can knock him out in 2 rounds after Jermaine Franklin went the distance with him and had a split decision with him, that's the way you level up, you know? So I don't really mind, you know, when guys trash talk. I don't mind it. But if you're backing it up like he did the other night, that's what's up. If you're Janovic and you're doing all this talking, the same amount of talking, calling yourself a boogeyman, saying how everyone is ducking you, and you perform like that against Denzel Bentley, then you're going to get the backlash because you've been talking a lot and people have been calling you the boogeyman all the time. So right now, Jared Anderson, I think he's doing the right thing. Just polish up the defense, and that's it, you know. And I think he should start polishing it up before you get into a real scrap, because you don't want to have to fight serious when you're never fighting serious. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know what he's doing in there with sparring, and you know he's been in there. He's been in there with Tyson Fury. I don't know what he's doing behind closed doors. You know, maybe he doesn't respect any of these guys he's facing, but he did take a lot of punches from Jerry Forrest, and I think if he keeps stepping up, some of these guys he faced, he can't just walk through those punches. He can't eat that many punches like that. All right, but I like everything he do, man, and overall, there's a lot of potential with him. Now, as far as moving forward, I'm just gonna go up box front and name a few people that I think that is good to fight right now. I think Sergey Kuzmin is a solid fight. Jalolov, who we just saw the previous weekend, all right, he's another heavyweight guy on the come up. All right, his name has been mentioned with Jared Anderson. You know, he's another guy. He's dangerous. He's good. I would love to see the fight now. But realistically, I don't see that fight happening until a couple of years when they're both at the top tier on the contender side. I can't see them fighting right now. But if they were to make the fight right now, that'd be great. You know? I think the real, or I don't want to say the real, but the other Gerald Miller, the other big baby, that's a fight that can happen at some point. Just off the name, you know? I haven't really watched Gerald Miller in his comeback fight yet. I'm hoping he just tries to get back in top tier shape, clean, and stay clean. But I can see that being a fight that people are going to tune into because of the whole Big Baby thing. You have 2 guys with the nickname Big Baby, and then you got 2 guys that's willing to trash talk and try to bully each other. That would be a great fight. For now, Gerald Washington, solid fight. That's another solid fight that he can take. You know, a guy that's been in there with champions and stuff. That's a good fight. Carlos Takam, another guy that has been in there with champions. He's been in there with everybody. He's been in there with a lot of people. You know, that's still a good fight. He's still active. Trevor Bryan, an American fighter, was the WBA regular champion recently. You know what I'm saying? He lost to Danny Dubois. But, you know, at the end of the day, still a solid fight, you know, for right now. F.A. Ajaba, Jared Anderson's very familiar with him. I believe they sparred. This is what I mean. F.A. is one of those guys where even though overall he's way more versatile than F.A. Ajaba, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I think everything that Jared Anderson can do, he can do it better. But at the end of the day, F.A. Ajaba got that one-punch KO power. And if you're walking into shots like the way Jared Anderson is at times, you don't want to walk into a right hand from F.A. Ajaba. You know, I don't care if they sparred. I don't care what they've done or if they're familiar with each other, whatever. At the end of the day, in a real fight, you don't want to walk into a right hand from F.A. Ajaba. You just don't. You know, even if you're the better boxer, you could do more, you could switch. Who cares? That guy can punch. You got to be a little bit cautious against that guy if that fight were to ever happen. Now, if they really want to level him up, go straight to Charles Martin. You know, Charles Martin, former champion, fought AJ, fought Luis Ortiz. He's fought a lot of good people. That'll be a level up. Another fight that from another southpaw who's dangerous, you know what I'm saying, could punch. It's a level above Jerry Forrest. These are guys that are on the level of Jerry Forrest or even better as we keep going up. Steven Shaw, another American fighter. I know a lot of people are not familiar with him, and he hasn't really stepped up yet. I don't believe he has. I haven't checked on him in a while. Yeah, he fought Rydell Booker, Joey DeWaco. I mean, those are solid, but at this point, you know, Jerry Forrest is a level above those two. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, at the end of the day, you know, he's another guy that's still looking, but that's a good fight. You know, Jermaine Franklin, you know, I talked about him. That'd be a great fight. I just talking about Jermaine Franklin. He just had to scrap with Dillian White, you know. They both have a common opponent. Obviously, Jared Anderson did better. He passed the test with, you know what I'm saying? He aced it. So that would be a good fight. Zhilei Zhang, that's another good fight. That's a fight that I feel like it happened now. You know, because now Jared Anderson just beat up the guy that you had to draw with. The thing is, just like F.A. Jabba, you can't just walk into a left hand from Zhang. You know, I think Zhang is a southpaw. You just can't walk into a left hand with him. You know what I'm saying? Yes, he's older. And yes, we know that he's looked bad as far as cardio. But he just went to war with Hrgovic. And a lot of people feel that he won that fight. That is a dangerous fight. That's a real level up. And even though Zhang is looking probably past him, you just never know. You know? That's a fight that you got to be on your P's and Q's. You got to be on point. Fabio Wardley. Now, this is a fight that I keep talking about that I would love to see. I would love to see Fab Wardley against Jerry Anderson right now. This kind of reminds me of like Frank Martin against Michelle Rivera that's happening this weekend. Two guys undefeated. You know what I'm saying? They're pushing. They're beating solid fighters now. They're undefeated. Yes, they're not top contenders yet. You know they're not. No, they're not top contenders, or no, they're not superstars yet. But the real boxing fans, the hardcores, know who they are, and they're excited for those two to fight. I'm surprised that fight is going down, but those are the fights that should be happening before all of these guys, like the welterweight division, all these guys that are like all mandatories, but none of them face each other yet. That's a fight that I would love to see Fabio Wardley against Jared Anderson. Very good fight. You know, and then you got Hrgovic, you know, Demirezin. These are all good fights. You know, I'm not going to go too up. I think the furthest up, I would say not Derek Chisora. Derek's not going to fight him, but Danny Dubois. You know, I know Danny Dubois was just made a mandatory WBA, but he's still faulty, you know, and I think that would be a good fight between Jerry Anderson and Danny Dubois, you know, because Danny Dubois is pretty much the UK's version. You know, he scored a lot of knockouts. Yes, he has a loss. Yes, he struggled in his last fight, but he able to, you know, come back and win. You know what I'm saying? That would be a good fight between Big Baby and, you know, Danny Dubois, Triple D. You know, so I'm not going to go too up. I'm not going to go too up. You know, people are going to bring up Frank Sanchez, Otto Wallin. I'm not going to go too far up. But I think at that point, some of those fighters I just named are on the level of Jerry Forrest or a level above, you know, in the right direction. But let's not get too crazy. You know what I'm saying? And listen, not to say that I don't think that Big Baby, Jared Anderson won't beat some of these top tier fighters, you know, top 10, top 15 guys. He probably could beat some of them already right now. But as far as developing, he is still 23 years old. There's no rush. He'll get there, you know. Work out everything. Work on your flaws. You'll get there. But very good performance from him. I'm very excited. Again, this is the first American heavyweight that I've been excited for since Deontay Wilder. You know, way before I had this channel, went back when I used to just watch some of his fights and his knockouts on the come up. Deontay Wilder is the last heavyweight, American heavyweight guy that I've been excited for, and I have to feel the same way about Jared Anderson. But I like Jared Anderson because he brings a little bit more a good boxing and versatility in his game. He don't have the one-punch knockout power that Deontay Wilder has, but I think he has more tools. I just think he needs to work on his defense. And that's about saying get a little bit more rounded. But round by round, he's a guy that I can see doing better winning rounds than Wilder. It's just that Wilder is dangerous all the time. I was on Twitter earlier. You know, I saw people talking about Wilder and Jared Anderson fighting. Not saying that. Listen, you just never know. Anything can happen in the sport. It's just that I just wouldn't pick Jared Anderson to beat Wilder right now. Like I wouldn't do it. You know why? Because I wouldn't want, I think Jared Anderson can hurt him. I think Jared Anderson could beat him in rounds. But Wilder is dangerous because he just got a special weapon that can just turn the fight around and end the fight at any given moment. Any given moment. I've seen it way too many times, and I think that's the danger with him. And even though we're just talking about it, and I don't believe the fight will ever happen, because I think by the time Jared Anderson gets to the top, if he gets to the top, Wilder will probably be retired right now. Wilder's just looking for the bag right now, but I'm just talking based on some of the tweets I saw. I wouldn't pick Jared Anderson to win. Not saying he can't, but I wouldn't pick him to beat Wilder right now. I just wouldn't, Say what you want about Wilder. He has a lot of experience in fighting. No, he doesn't box the best, but he knows how to fight good boxers, if you know what I mean. All right. So anyway, love Jared Anderson. He's moving in the right direction. Just stay focused, stay disciplined, work on, polish up the defense, and keep doing your thing, man. I think he's the real deal. Just can't wait to see. Just got to work on that defense. I'm going to keep bringing it up, but all right. Anyway, that's my video. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, smash the like button, share the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.